This is Curtis coming at you from AcePerHead Studios once again, covering the 2021 NFL season. Going to reassess my assessment of Duke Johnson versus the Jets. I done screwed up. Wasn't totally my fault, but it was a done screwed up moment. Woke up this morning, guys put the podcast out a couple of hours, early into the wee hours of the morning. Went through the comments like I always do. Some guy, SJ, who's made some really good comments in the past, said, I don't understand how Duke Johnson could have 4.5 yards before contact. I saw him breaking tackles all day. I said, and it dawned on me, like 4.5 yards before contact. That's what I had said in the previous podcast. That was high. I use Pro Football Reference. Monday, I didn't watch any tape, just wanted to enjoy the win. But I looked at yards before contact at 4.5 for Duke Johnson. Start building my case going into Tuesday when I started doing the film study on all 22, 4.5 yards. Checked again on Tuesday, 4.5. This morning when I looked, all of a sudden in gold flashing letters, it said, we reassess our stats on Wednesday. And it said 1.8 yards before contact. Oh, Curtis, you done screwed up. So I got to give my mea culpa. I got to say sorry to a couple hundred people who watched the podcast. There was some poor information there. The general framework of what I presented I felt was good, but I used that 4.5 yards before contact as the foundation of what I had said. And I didn't go back far enough in the stats to really flesh it out because the narrative that I had in my head fit with this gaudy stat. But then when it was 1.83, I had to reassess. So those fans, the viewers, commenters that watched and put comments in, and a couple hundred of you, I do apologize. I'm going to put a little notation of when I'm adding new information so you don't have to watch this thing again. I'm going to use some of the same anecdotes, most of the same information, but my final assessment and one particular aspect of Duke's game really took on a different look, and I'm going to focus on that. So I'll have the notation so you can skip through. But yards before contact is a very critical stat, but it's a stat, and you have to always add context. And there's many ways to do it. I'm not going to dig into it here now. But yards before contact means the offensive line gives the running back this much distance over the line of scrimmage. And it's a lot easier for a running back to farther over the line of scrimmage he gets before he gets contact. This is for many reasons. One, the farther over the line of scrimmage, that means the running back's got his full head of steam, he's on the move, and that's an advantage over any tackler. Two, and the most crucial one is the farther you get past, everything like 2.5, 3, you're past the line players, you're past most of the edge players. These D tackles, these D ends, edge players, they're all 250 and up. And so when you get into that 3 range, past that, you're dealing with linebackers, safeties, and corners who are much smaller. They can be better tacklers or whatever, but that mass difference plays a vast role in the running back's ability to be successful or not. That's why stats are just stats. They don't give context. And I want to flesh some of that context out in 2 little anecdotes. One, if I'm going in and my 90-year-old grandma's there and I stiff arm her and get into the end zone, get the touchdown, spike the football, it's totally different than if I see Zach Thomas got me, stiff arm him, do spin move, do my Heisman Trophy, and spike the football in the end zone. Both are touchdowns, both are broken tackles, but the context is totally different. This is why film plays a critical role. But I want to further get an understanding for those, the difference between the value of mass in football. It's why big players are mostly playing the game. Now, I was a screw up in high school, kind of gave it towards the tail end. Football became less and less important. I want to smoke a lot of weed, party, go wild, and drink booze. Did that post high school, and then I had a friend talk me on to a college rowing team, pretty prestigious college rowing team. Got back in shape, and started spurring me, man. I love the game of football. I want to retry it. One last shot. So it was a local college, Division II school, and it was like a farm system for talented screw-ups. And a coach who had been there had gone to Georgia Tech, so they farmed players there to Georgia Tech in Miami. And I walked on. I didn't understand any of it. I just walked on the team because it was the closest team to me. And I went from the dead man squad, which is basically the walk-ons where, if the walk-ons, they run you to death. They make you do crazy drills. They even try to hurt you. They make fun of you, anything to weed you out. I had moved my way up from the dead man squad by being persistent, showing some talent. I wasn't a superstar in any way, but I had some talent. A sudden player. I was pretty quick. I was very strong. At that point, though, I was 2 or 3 years older than these kids. They're 19, 20. Some older guys that came on too, but I was basically developing my man strength. At that point, I could bench 225 16 times. I could squat like 440 twice. I could deadlift like maybe 450 3 times. A lot stronger than a lot of these kids because I was older and I had been bodybuilding for longer. It was just a natural gift. So after the dead man squad, I started getting some reps, started victimizing cornerbacks and safeties and outside linebackers, not the middle linebackers, but I started really feeling myself and I started getting a little name, a little buzz, you get ego starts pumping up. So in practice, I get a handoff inside a gap and it opens up like Moses to the Red Sea and I can go left or right. But in the middle between that is a defensive tackle, guy I know, drive him home pretty much every day. Big kid, 310, 315, not NFL 310, 315, but big. So I'm full of the juice. I decided to truck the guy. I don't know why. I just want to see if I could run through him. Hit him with everything I got. I never experienced anything like that. I stopped. It was a dead stop. And he had me in his arms. Big guy, nice guy. He looked at me. He said, Curtis, why don't you go around me? Or like, what did you do that for or something? I said, I don't know. I want to run through you. He's like, don't do that again. I never experienced it. It was just an utter, complete stop. And I learned a valuable lesson, and I carry that into my evaluation, the difference between strength and mass and how difficult it is for a running back to break free of bigger players, these defensive linemen. So there's yards before contact. You take it with the film, but understand that what a guy does to somebody who's smaller than him is much different than the guy he does to somebody who's much bigger. Like Barry, you watch Barry, he broke all sorts of tackles, 1, 2D tackles, everything. He had power, he had, strength, he had speed. Totally different than Christian Okoye breaking to the second level and running over a cornerback. Old references, I'm an old guy. So with that little reference, I want to go, the adjusted numbers were 1.8 yards before contact for Duke and 3 after. Now, I had looked at Duke last year with the Texans. He had 77 carries, 1 yard before contact, and 1.9 after. And you could see when you go back to 2019, he had 83 carries, 2.1 yards before contact, and 2.8 after contact. In 2018, he had 40 carries for 2.4 yards before contact, and 2.7 after contact. And you can see as he was able to deal past that line of scrimmage, his break tackles, his ability to deal with contact obviously went higher. Now, he only had 1.8 yards before contact in this game, but because it's a small number set, the film really comes in and shows why this was. Dolphins did screw up many times, and he had to deal with traffic before contact, but they also opened up big holes on a number of occasions, allowing him to get deep into the secondary. But Duke's talent, the poor Jets defense, the offensive coordinators, and the offensive line also got him to deal with the edge players of the Jets, who were poor tacklers and small, and Duke feasted. This one aspect, I had rated him in a previous podcast as above average, but this stiff arm and the ability to deal with smaller guys who can't really tackle is in the good range, and it can take him much higher than my initial evaluation. Still need to see more tape and all this other stuff. But as an example of what we talked about with yards before contact, yards after contact, Philip Lindsey, who a lot of players love to say that he's better than Gaskin, his 2018 Pro Bowl season, he had 3.8 yards before contact for the entire season. That's amazing. And he had 1.6 yards after contact. That's how you get the 1.5. So basically, the offensive line gave him 66% of his production. But then last year, with the Texans, he had 1.9 yards before contact and only 0.7 after. Lindsey's 190 pounds. And you can see Lindsey does pretty good once he deals with guys around his size. But when he's dealing with people that are much bigger, just like what I experienced, it's a dead stop. So when you look at Gaskin for this season had 2.1 yards before contact, which is low. This is a low range. And 1.4 after contact. Basically the same range of before contact as Lindsey, but double the production, over double the production. Well, double. And that was 164 carries. So that's a nice sample size. Then in 2020, Gaskin had 2.1 yards before contact, 2 after contact, and 142. Better season last year, but still that same repeating pattern. And then in 2019, when he only had 36 snaps, 0.8 yards before contact, but 2.9 after contact. And this is one of the reasons why I see him as higher value than Philip Lindsey, because his ability to deal with, to make more out of less and to deal with a lot of traffic inside early close to the line of scrimmage. But what I screwed up the last time was I undervalued Johnson's ability to stiff arm and use that size and strength. Very physical. I think all the other assessments were pretty accurate, and I'll get to those after the film's coming now. But context being, the Saints game is going to really be a good bookends. In some ways it's different, in some ways it's the same. But the Jets, Ashton Davis, number 21, he's the safety. He had 12.7 missed tackle rate before the game and 13.6 after. He's 200 pounds, kind of small, and struggles in tackling. As a reference point, Xavier Howard has 13% missed tackle rate. So this guy is a safety who's meant to tackle, and we all know Xavier can't tackle. So Sheldon Rankins, who's replacing Fudukasi, and you notice the difference between this game and last game. And some of it was Duke Johnson, and some of it was lack of Fudukasi. But Rankins filled in for Fudukasi a lot. He had 9.7 missed tackle rate. His defensive run defense stat is, I think it's 33 or 31 or 35 or something. By PFF, can't bank on it, but it's poor. He's one of the worst in the league. His missed tackle rate ballooned from 9.7 to 12.5. Michael Carter, number 30, cornerback, 9% missed tackle rate. Not bad for a cornerback, but he's only 190 pounds. Eccles, another cornerback, number 26, 9.3 missed tackle rate, ballooned to 15.5, and you're going to see him get devastated by Duke Johnson. He's only 178 pounds, though. C.J. Mosley, you're going to see a lot of him. He was really the dog, and he had a lot of interactions with the running backs, both Gaskin and Duke, number 57. He's 250 pounds big, and he was a good player, but he is playing terrible. I wonder if he's hurt. He has 14 missed tackles going to the game. Don't know what it was after. But his missed tackle rate's 9.6, which is not good for that kind of linebacker, and it ballooned to 10.2. So this is a small secondary, beat up front, and Duke Johnson was able to take advantage. Now, when you look at his minimal amount of stats, Duke Johnson, you have to wonder, is it that he fits certain matchups in certain situations and it really accentuates his play, and that's why he has the limited snaps, or is it just they were missing out on his talent? We're going to see this week to see if he can carry this through to a larger sample size. But let's take a look at the tape. It's the same tape as I did before. I haven't changed it. But let's take a look at the tape and see what we see. Duke takes the inside handoff. As usual, you see the doubles on the two linemen. Hunt doesn't give him the chip that he really needs. And Davis gets lit up and driven back. And Duke then has to scramble, gets tripped up and falls down. But he picks up a couple extra yards of getting up off the ground. Duke back at shotgun. You can see right here, that's an arm tackle, hand right there, breaks right through it. Then he gets met in a hole. And, I like the way he held the ball. He double-handed it, very secured. All right, Duke again in the pistol. Takes the inside hand. See this deep penetration by defensive end Keys. Really messes things up. And it's just a big scrum inside. You can see it right here. He's got Dieter missing a block, Davis missing a block. There's a lot of traffic in it. But I like the jump cut. I like to cut and slide down the line. Some late blocks coming to help him out. But then this is nice to get right back up field, and he gets back to the line of scrimmage. That was one of my favorite runs of his all game, actually. That was a very good run, even though it didn't pick up a lot of yards. So here is Gaskin, and you see, look at that space right there. We haven't seen space like that all year. Gaskin gets up and picks up 7. Gaskin does a nice little job here, but this is a lot of space, man. This is a lot of space. Good run, but this was all about blocking. He gets the handoff, and again, look at this space. This is a lot of space. There's more than we've seen all season. Right here, this is a nice little move to get to the outside. And then again, you see Mosley with the arm tackle here. He just can't hold on to him. Mosley's 250, but Mosley is just not playing like he used to, and he's been a pretty terrible tackler all year. Nice break of a bigger opponent. I like that run, but it was an arm tackle, and it's C.J. Mosley, so it's downgraded a little bit. Inside run here by Duke, and this big hole, but it closes up quick. And Mosley at 250, and I can't see who else is in there, but that gets shut down. Duke did everything he possibly could. Hard running, though, man. It was a hard run. Side handoff, little bounce. I don't know if that's the plan. I think that's the plan, like a little bit of a counter here. And tries to block Mosley, but doesn't. And Duke does a nice stop and spin to get inside. And that was a good play. That was a very hard run. It's a little bit of difference between Gaskin and Duke. He's a little more powerful. I wouldn't say he's more sudden, just a little more powerful. I think he's better suited in the goal line situation. Not all the time, but on those inside A-gap runs, definitely. Again, you get the pistol. Now, look at this hole. We have not seen, there's a hole over here. Look at that hole right there by Long, which, refs decide to call when they want to call, but look at this. That is vast hole. Gaskin here in the pistol. He gets the ball, and he's got 57 Mosley in the hole, and Smythe's got the lone block, so he's got to bounce it out. And Smythe, is probably assuming that it's supposed to go inside, so he's blocking him out, and that just messes everything up. But you see, watch, 250-pound Mosley can't drill 195-pound Gaskin to the ground. He actually falls forward on. That's how poor a season Mosley's having. Inside handoff, and he bounces it down, but he's got somebody there. I love how he puts the foot in the ground, and that's a nice little spin move. But also, again, understand, it's Michael Carter at 190 pounds. He's a good tackler at 7.6% missed tackle rate, but he's 190 pounds. Duke's got 20 pounds on him. Got a pitch here. But look at this space. Look at this. There's a huge amount of space, and all you got in your way is C.J. Mosley. who misses another tackle, takes a wrong angle, gets a cheesy arm tackle, and then cornerback, I think that's Eccles, who's 178 pounds. And yeah, Eccles and C.J. Mosley missed a tackle, but they're very poor. Nice little run, but that was mostly created by the offensive line and the blocking. All right, Gaskin, little counter move, back inside. He's got to bounce back to the weak side. And, you know, this is decisive running here. Look at this. 3 guys with your own guy on the ground in front of you. You jump over and you make something out of that. That's a very nice run. I got the pistol with Duke. Inside. And a lot of space. Jackson holding C.J. Mosley. He spins, and then Eichenberg comes in and throws him forward. He's just, look at this, holding him right here. Like, how, the ref's staring right at it. How is that not called? That's amazing. I think they're just saving up all these holding calls for when it really counts. I would not be surprised to see like 2 or 3 holding calls this week. All right, so you got Gaskin from the pistol, and look at the space. That's a lot of space. I mean, before he's meeting contact, it's a 4 yards. And then he puts his shoulder down, and he generates 3 more after that. All right, so you got the counter action with the pitch to the outside. And right now, his move inside is on Eccles, is on, like, again, 170 pounds, 178 pounds. It was good blocking, leaves you one-on-one with a small corner. You can't ask for any more. So that broken tackle, it's like, you really can't rank that. And then he has the weight over here on Carter, who's another 190-pounder, and he lights him up. So, you know, he's doing what he's supposed to, but given the space and the situations, I don't really see him overly exceeding to being a good running back. This is above average play. Inside handoff. Now look at the space. Look at this. He doesn't even get touched until 8, 9 yards down the field. Now, the one nice, I like that, again, that hard cut right there. That hard cut right there made the play. But this is, look at that blocking. Duke again in the pistol. Gets the inside handoff. And is really, you know, he's got C.J. Mosley in. This is terrible play here. So he gets a stiff arm there on Ashton Davis, who's a guy, and 12.3% missed tackle. Gun. I like this, but these guys, this is a pretty easy read for the cut. And he gets upfield, and then he's got Eccles at 178 pounds in his way, and just pounds on this guy. Stiff arms him. Nice play. It's not to knock the play, but putting in context. Inside handoff by Gaskin. Now there's all kind of scrum here. He's getting blocked into it, and he's got a small fry on him. Well, I guess to him there's not really a small fry. And he's able to, there's not really a broken tackle as much as just ability to keep balance. And then get upfield. Still, you know, side after he broke free from all that scrum, though, was a huge hole. And Ashton Davis with his missed tackles again. And this is just a nice little run. This is a nice run. Not a great run, but a nice run. It was great balance to get out. You know, that was the balance part is, you know, is one of Gaskin's big strengths. He's got excellent balance. He runs very low. If you'll notice, he runs lower than Duke. Inside handoff by Duke, and he sees a mess and bring it back to this side. A little bit of, you know, patience, a little bit of vision. Nice run here, nice display. But look again, you'll see Mosley on the ground. But this again, there's a lot of space. There was a lot of space. So you could see that there were big holes for both backs, way more than we're used to. And both backs took advantage of it. But the one part that I screwed up on and didn't really take full focus on was that stiff arm, was Duke Johnson's physicality and ability to deal with edge, the secondary defenders, and his ability to do some movement skills once he gets to that second level. But it's that stiff arm and physicality that really allows him to dominate certain players, which is going to be very interesting against this Saints game. And I'm going to do my next podcast on reassessing what he could possibly do to the Saints defense. And it's kind of interesting when you go overlook and look at some more tape and put it together for you. So I had rated Duke Johnson as above average with all things considered. Good blocking at certain times, poor secondary, small secondary, and poor general run defense. But that stiff arm, I have to give it greater consideration. I still think he's above average. I still like Gaskin better in a whole. But to me, what I had said in the previous podcast is they both really were worked well together as two good backs. And I liked them better than Ahmed pairing with Gaskin. I thought Gaskin and Duke Johnson were the perfect pairings. I think we could see some good stuff coming from this going forward. But the stiff arm is making me reassess and rethink. So I do apologize for those who watched. I wanted to make it known to those who didn't watch, to let you know, to be fair to those who did watch, and let you know I done screwed up. Stat changed, it was there, and I allowed that stat to create a narrative in my head that what was already in my head. And this is something that we can't allow it to happen. We have to always reassess. We have to admit when we're wrong, and we have to go back and be a better evaluator than we were yesterday. And that's my attempt here. So I do apologize to everybody, to the community. I'll be better next time. I'll be better for those. I thank you, SJ, who pointed it out and made me really reassess things. Good comment. That's why I love comments. I really appreciate them. So please like, comment, subscribe. Comments mean the most. Obviously, I build my podcasts around them. I interact because I want to learn. I want to present and I want to learn. I want to interact. It means the most to me. So thank you. Subscribes and likes help us. The Google overlords keeps us in business. I like that too. I promise to be better next time, folks. This is Curtis saying thank you. Catch you next time and be well. Start building your own online sportsbook today by getting signed up with AcePerHead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.